The Chernobyl disaster. The Chernobyl accident is the largest man-made disaster of the last century, the consequences of which are still felt today. On April 26, 1986, an explosion occurred at the forced power unit of the nuclear power plant. Bhopal, the worst industrial accident in history, occurred on December 3, 1984, when about 45 tons of hazardous methyl isocyanate gas escaped from the Union Carbide plant in Bhopal, India. Great smoke in London. For several hours, the fog mixed with harmful emissions in the air to form a yellowish smoke. Moreover, it became so thick that in some parts of London, pedestrians could not distinguish their own feet when walking. On October 8, 1957, an uncontrolled combustion of graphite control units occurred in the Wont reactor. The resulting fire released significant amounts of radioactive ionite and plutonium into the atmosphere. The nuclear accident in history in 1979, an automatically closed valve in the reactor of the second unit of the nuclear power plant, was closed by mistake. This led to the leakage of radioactive gases into the atmosphere. The Great Chilean Earthquake on May 22, 1960. During the earthquake, two continental plates moved more than 30 meters apart and released a huge amount of energy. The worst nuclear disaster in Japan was caused by a powerful earthquake and tsunami that occurred on March 11, 2011. The loss of main backup power led to a series of explosions and the release of radioactive materials. On March 24, 1989, Captain Joseph Hazelwood grounded on Exxon Valdez in Prince William Sound, Alaska, spilling nearly 11 million gallons of crude oil over approximately 1,300 miles of Alaskan coastline. The woeful tragedy is considered to be the largest man-made disaster in modern history by the number of victims, which occurred in India 2 years before the Chernobyl tragedy. About 8,000 people died from poisonous gas within 72 hours. Disaster in Texas City. On the morning of April 16, 1947, a fire broke out onto the Kraken. The ship and everyone on board, including the crew, half of the local firefighters and reporters, were engulfed in flames. The Sandoz chemical plant disaster is another of the worst man-made disasters in terms of environmental impact. The chemical plant on the banks of the Rhine River was engaged in the production of various agricultural chemicals. Exxon Valdez tanker disaster. One of the most devastating maritime disasters occurred on March 24, 1989, in the Prince William Sound. 40 million liters of crude oil were spilled into the water during the first hours of the accident. The Dust Bowl in the United States. You may remember that the characters in the movie Interstellar were constantly faced with large-scale dust storms. In the 1930s, Residents of Great Plains, USA had to live in such conditions. Minamata disease from 1932 to 1968. The Chiso chemical plant discharged methyl mercury into the water of the bay on the whose shore the city stands. Accumulating in the human body, methyl mercury led to insanity and death. Oil fires in Kuwait. At the end of the Gulf War in 1989, when Iraqi troops were retreating from Kuwait, they set fire to more than 650 oil wells. Huge columns of smoke rose into the sky, causing sooty rains and blocking the sun. The earthquake in Gansu on December 16, 1920. The earthquake in the Chinese province of Gansu on December 16, 1920, which claimed more than 200,000 lives, was the most destructive of a series of earthquakes of that period.
Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and see you next video.